Have you ever heard this? The idea that if you just think positively, you can literally manifest anything you want. A new car, perfect health, maybe even millions of dollars. It's a really powerful idea, and today we're going to unpack the global phenomenon that sold that promise to the world, The Secret, and its main idea, the law of attraction.
You know, this quote from UFC champion Conor McGregor just perfectly sums up how a lot of people feel about this stuff. At first, he thought it was complete nonsense, but then he started trying it with little things, like visualizing a perfect parking spot and getting it. Pretty soon, he was visualizing world titles. It's that skeptic to believer story that really shows you why this idea got so huge.
And when I say huge, I'm not kidding. The 2006 film The Secret wasn't some little indie documentary. It was a monster hit, pulling in over $65 million at the box office. Suddenly, this thing was everywhere. Oprah was talking about it, your coworkers were talking about it, you couldn't escape it.
Right, so this wasn't just some passing fad. It was a brilliant piece of marketing that took a really old philosophy and made it a modern global bestseller. So what exactly is this law that it's selling?
Okay, at its heart, the law of attraction is actually pretty simple. The idea is that your mind is a magnet. If you focus on being wealthy, you'll attract money. If you focus on being happy, you'll attract good experiences. But, and this is key, if you focus on what you don't want, you just get more of that. The universe, according to The Secret, doesn't hear the word don't. It just picks up on the vibe you're sending out.
So where did this idea come from? Well, it definitely didn't just pop up out of nowhere in 2006. The Secret is really just a new coat of paint on a much, much older set of beliefs. To really get it, we've got to go back, way back.
The whole family tree of The Secret starts with something called the New Thought movement back in the late 1800s. Their whole deal was that your thoughts literally create your reality. This led to books like The Master Key System in 1912 by a guy named Charles F. Hannell, which basically became the direct blueprint for the movie. You can draw a straight line from this stuff to basically all the manifestation and wellness culture you see today.
And this is the book right here, The Master Key System. It wasn't even sold like a normal book at first. It was a 24-week mail-order course that promised to unlock your hidden power. Decades and decades later, a TV producer named Rhonda Byrne finds this book when she's going through a really tough time in her own life.
What's so fascinating is how Rhonda Byrne talks about it. She basically says she just binged all these old New Thought books in a couple of weeks, took the main ideas and repackaged them into a really slick, easy-to-watch movie. She didn't invent the concept, she just gave it an amazing brand.
And this quote from the original book, wow, it shows you just how intense the core belief is. Hannell isn't saying your mind influences your world. He's saying it is the only creator. That's a staggering claim about human power.
Okay, so you've got this 100-year-old idea. How do you make it sound modern and scientific? Well, for the people behind The Secret, the answer was to link it to one of the weirdest and most mind-bending parts of science there is, quantum physics.
And this is where things get a little strange. On one side, you have the simple self-help idea. Your mind is the creative force. On the other, you have real physicists trying to understand the quantum enigma. This bizarre idea that at a subatomic level, the act of observing something actually seems to change it. Proponents of The Secret took that scientific mystery and made a giant leap, saying, see, that's proof. Our thoughts create the universe. But, and this is a huge but, the actual physicists whose work gets cited are very clear. They're basically saying, whoa, hold on, we're talking about philosophy here, metaphysics. This is a thought experiment, not a scientific law you can use to get yourself a new house.
In fact, many scientists are really concerned about this. They worry that because these quantum ideas are so strange and hard to explain, it leaves the door wide open for people to jump in, twist their words, and sell it to the public as proven science when it's just not.
So the science connection is shaky at best. But if we put the physics aside, psychologists have even more serious questions about what believing in the law of attraction actually does to people in the real world.
I mean, on the surface, believing you can control your own destiny sounds amazing. It feels super empowering. But what happens when things go wrong? Is this law always a helpful tool, or can it turn into something much, much darker?
This is where the criticism gets really serious. First, there's the huge problem of victim blaming. If you attract everything in your life, does that mean people attract their own illnesses, their own poverty, or even being attacked? It can also lead to inaction. Why bother working hard if you can just visualize a promotion? And then you have toxic positivity, the awful idea that you have to suppress any negative feeling, which we now know is incredibly bad for your mental health.
This quote really lays out the absolute worst-case scenario.
This philosophy can be turned into a weapon. In the wrong hands, it can be used to convince someone who's suffering that it's all their fault, that they brought it on themselves with their negative vibrations. It's truly chilling.
And that's exactly why some experts say it can work a bit like a cult. If the system works for you, the leader and the ideology get all the credit. But if it doesn't work, well, that's your fault. You didn't believe hard enough. It creates a closed loop where the system can never be wrong, only the follower can.
So, we're left with these two completely opposite ways of looking at the same idea. Is it a universal law that can unlock our greatest potential? Or is it a dangerous lie that can really hurt people? Let's just break it down one last time. The promise is so seductive. Total control over your life. You can attract wealth, health, anything you want. It's a life without limits. But the peril is just as real. A life where you feel shame and guilt for any misfortune, where you blame yourself for tragedy, and where you're an easy target for people who want to take advantage of your beliefs.
At the end of the day, it all comes down to this. We all know that positive thinking can be a really powerful tool for success and happiness. No one's denying that. But when does that empowering belief cross a line and become a dangerous delusion that can cause real harm? That's the secret that's still worth figuring out.